Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. So I'm finally through with covering all the long form information from the Avatar role-playing game. So now let's get into some news that I've kind of skipped over a little bit over the last few days. So most of this is merchandise news, so just be aware of that. First, Diamond Select Toys always put out these Ask Diamond Select Toys, and there is a question about Avatar. So, regarding the Avatar The Last Airbender series, will you be releasing any more characters beyond Series 5, particularly characters like Suki, Mei, and Tai Li? The answer is that we've discussed the idea of a sixth series, but the marketplace has changed since we started, so we'll have to see. That's very interesting in that an update a while ago mentioned that they were directly working on, I think, 5 and 6. So, when they revealed Wave 5, I think everyone was going like, okay, well, I guess they'll reveal Wave 6, which they were also working on soon. But now they're saying that actually Wave 6 may not even happen because they're looking at where they fit in the marketplace. Now, what they're talking about here is obviously that there are other companies now doing Avatar action figures, while when they started, they were the only one. But now McFarlane has got their stuff out, Best Action is doing stuff, and then just in general, a lot of companies are making Avatar merchandise as well. So it's always been the case that their figures have never been like the greatest in terms of like articulation, sculpt, or even accessories. But I don't think any of the companies have fully got all of those points spot on. So the main benefit that they had was that they were first, and that they could have got to some of these characters first, but they didn't. And I think it's really emphasized with the fact that, in the Wave 5, you do have, Blue Spirit Zuko in there. Instead of a Mei, Suki, or Tai Li, which are characters that people are desperate to see get action figures, but who's going to do it first? Because all these places have to go through the initial waves of characters to hit the other main characters first, and then we'll eventually, hopefully, get around to these characters. I don't know. It's an interesting one. I definitely heavily dropped off Diamond Select after the early waves. And I think McFarlane, the larger scale McFarlane, is what I'm more interested in. And with Avatar Diamond Select, it is definitely the gallery dioramas that interest me way more. Which I think, still have a uniqueness in the market, if they're maybe questioning that. Because a lot of places are either doing sort of their own sort of chibi kind of Funko Pop style figure, or doing more sort of standard statues, whereas their ones with the big bending effects actually do really stand out. So that's Diamond Select. Maybe putting future waves in doubt, which I don't think anyone quite expected. But anyway, next up we have this new board game, I guess. It's like a dice game as well. So, Master the Element in Avatar The Last Airbender Fire Nation Rising, coming soon from the OP. So, you can see here kind of what's going on here with this series of cooperative card and dice games using this Rising kind of system, I guess. It's coming this summer. Here's the general look of what you get. So, the board, you get cards, you get like markers, there's the dice, and pretty cool in the middle, you do get a pretty nicely sculpted kind of Ozai model representing that statue, of course. So that's kind of nice as like a piece of merchandise. The issue, I suppose, more is that like you go through it and it's like, okay, they're using some of the newer pieces of art that like are now part of Avatar, but it doesn't look like there's particularly like any crazy mechanics or anything like that. It definitely, like, because they say above, it is sort of Avatar on just their Rising system. It makes it feel like Avatar isn't really like the standout thing here. And you can see as you go through the cards, like, there's screenshots from the show here for a lot of this stuff. And especially because it does cost like 50, which for what you get, I don't quite see where that comes in that I get it. Like this Ozai figure is probably a lot of the price, but like 4 dice, a bunch of this stuff, all these cards, I'm not quite seeing where exactly that's coming from. So I don't know. It's another game. It looks like it's a relatively well put together release, at least compared to say some of the other board games we've got over the last few years. Like what was it? Golden Bell put out like a cabbage merchant game and like an Iro sort of fortune game or something like that, which seemed very low quality. This at least looks kind of high-ish quality, so we'll see how it goes. But we move on. So we had previous images of best action Zuko, like what the actual figure looks like. Now we have what Katara looks like. So bunch of pictures here, as you can see. So you can see there's the alternate head. There's Katara in packaging. So you can see what you get with Katara. You get an alternate head, bunch of different sets of hands. And what's interesting about her with the hands is obviously that you have actually the idea that the ones that she's pictured with are sort of the inaccurate hands, in that she only has that specific thing that covers her hand in her like book 3 outfit for the most part. So it's interesting that they'd even bother to include that. But then, as you can see, the other hands in the package are, you know, normal hands, which are more accurate to her design, as you can see in the sort of picture here. She doesn't have those kind of, you know, fingerless gloves on. But, you know, you get the pouches of water, you get the water effect parts, and overall it seems quite decent. Obviously, we need to take a little bit of a look at the head sculpt here, I suppose. So if we zoom in here, I think you can maybe see a little bit of a problem straight away that they've done this a little bit with some of the figures, of like made Katara's face a little bit too round, and that this face, because you can barely make out what the expression is on her face, it makes it look like she's puffing her cheeks out. Like it's this really kind of odd pose for the character to do, which I don't think they're necessarily going for, but it looks that way on the figure. And it's kind of similar with this, where like it's Katara doing this sort of like Aang wide open mouth happy expression, and I think it looks good, but it's maybe a little bit too like over the top, and you don't get sort of the neutral Katara. You get a little bit too like stern, and then a little bit too over the top, and it just feels a bit like not great. There's also the thing, once again, they're doing a book 1 Katara before they do a book 3 Katara. Whereas the book 3 Katara action figure, that's the design that I think is much better, and it would be better suited as being an action figure as well. I'd say like it's an interesting trade-off in that it's easier to do the general body of the figure, but it might be trickier to do her hair. But let's see where they go with it. More stuff. So this is a YouTwos once again, but this time YouTwos are doing plushes. So they have 4 Avatar plushes here that are going to start pre-order like pretty soon for a relatively recent release in June. So we have the Aang here. So you can see here, kind of chibi-ish style. I actually don't really like the look of this all that much. I think it's like too kind of doing its own style that it barely feels like Avatar all that much. So this one really doesn't appeal to me. The next one though, the Momo, I think looks very good. And I think this one benefits from the fact that it doesn't seem to be overly stylized. I like that what this looks to be is almost like a pretty accurate Momo, and they're saying it's like a 1 foot tall kind of plush, so it's a relatively big plush because you are paying like what, 35 for it. But it looks like it's going to be your kind of close-ish to 1-to-1 scale Momo, and it looks, you know, accurate, and the materials look good. So if there's any of these that I'm actually interested in, it probably would be this Momo. And Momo merchandise doesn't tend to stand out to me, but this one's actually something I want. It is slightly unfortunate though. It is the exclusive for this wave, so there's no Books of Millions in Ireland, so I don't really know what the situation is. They do say you can order from here, though they only ship to a very select few countries. So I technically could order it even though I'm not in the UK, but I probably would have to pay a little bit more than that to get it here. but we'll see how it goes. Next we have Toph, which I believe this is maybe the first Toph plush. I don't remember seeing one before. There's the sort of concept art behind it. The style works a little bit, I think, better here because I suppose Toph has a bit more going on with her hair and her kind of headband thing. But again, I'm not sure if I like the style massively for this. But it's cool there if you want a Toph plush overall. So there's that. And then there is Appa. So again, another kind of slightly bigger one here. Going for the sort of sleepy Appa look, as you can see there. You can sort of see there's a bit of a difference between the kind of final approach and this one. I think it looked overall quite good. But I maybe wish that it was just normal Appa instead of sleepy Appa, because you can tell the head feels a little bit sort of maybe different just because they're going for that like chin on the ground sort of look. But you know, cool enough. And again, it's not exclusive. And if you want an Appa plush, here's a way to get one, I guess. So there's that. A final piece of news is this. It's more live action Netflix show news. And that is that we seem to have the sort of almost like exclusive reveal of a new actor here, which is that we have our Lieutenant G cast, as you can see in this picture. And this is Roy or Rui Iskander. I'm again not sure about the pronunciation. I don't really know actors that well, so I'm not at all familiar with him. But here is our Lieutenant G. So interesting just by itself. They are including G in the show. Makes sense, because obviously a lot of Zuko stuff is going to be him on his ship going from place to place. You need to have other soldiers with them. And G, as the sort of leader, I guess, of the rest of them, does sort of need to be there. Obviously, the main moment with G is the stuff in the storm. That's the stuff that you need that character for, and it's very important from a character perspective. But it will be interesting to see what else they do with G. Like, there is an option, because they maybe look like they're taking the approach of expanding out things, of kind of covering the story, which didn't really get told in ATLA, but how Iroh got Zuko, his crew. Because, of course, Zuko is banished, and so the idea is he's not really meant to have much support himself. But Iroh, with his respect, got a crew for Zuko, so maybe they'll go into that a little bit. But yeah, that is most of the news. I suppose one final thing on the Netflix show is just that I think this is the first time I've talked about it since we didn't get any information about Avatar Studios at the Viacom event. But I think it becomes abundantly clear that this thing's definitely coming out before any Avatar Studios stuff. So we're going to get this way before any of that stuff. So this is going to be on a lot of people's attention when it does come out. Whereas maybe before, there was maybe some thoughts that this might come out and then like a couple of months later we'll get Avatar Studios. But there probably will be a much bigger gap between them. So what it means is, I suppose, everyone is going to get their chance to fully focus in on this when it comes out and have the discussions about this, which I suppose are going to be fun at the time when it happens, but we do have to get there. Still waiting to see if when they finally show us what the characters look like in costume, and they give us a better sense for what they are and are not covering from book one, and how accurate or not they're trying to be. But yeah, that has been the news. So in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on a lot of this merchandise stuff that Diamond Select might be in doubt because they're questioning their place in the marketplace. A new kind of dice-based board game here. A look at the Katara Best Action figure, as well as the plushies here from YouTwos. What are your thoughts on all of this? But other than that, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.